Well, man, I believe in brotherhood, and I believe sometimes in brotherhood and the journey of brotherhood, you're not gonna always see eye to eye. But at the end of the day, time will heal all wounds. And I believe, man, the goal for men is to unite. The goal of advancing the culture is a collective movement. It's not an individual movement. And so even if the relationship have to take a pause for a second for you to get yourself together, him to get himself together, I just don't believe in extensive long periods of time of separation. And so to answer your question, I do believe that they will be cool, because man, they had a bond that was like not many I've seen, that I believe could have withstood any differences that they may have had.
What was your stance on the whole back then, the East Coast, West Coast beef they had going on, the Bad Boy versus the Death Row and all that? How would you guys feel being a R&B group at the time?
Man, that was a tough season. You know, when you are a new artist and you release a song, we were taught at an early age that you have to go follow the record. And so if your record is playing in Whodunit, Georgia, you got to go. Because the way you promote a record is you got to be present. You got to see people. They got to be able to feel you. You got to kiss and wave, hug the babies, take all the photos, meet and greet in stores, autograph signings, all of that. It just so happened, man, that our first single and the remix of Only You was really, really researching well on the West Coast. So we had a decision to make. Do we adhere to Puff's orders of no Bad Boy artists are going to the West Coast and run the risk of losing our record? Now, this is our first single. And you know, man, sometimes if you don't get on the boat on that first one, you may lose your chance. And so we had a tough decision to make, and we decided that we were going to go and work our record, man. And we beefed up security. Man, I can remember sometimes, man, we'd be performing like in California or in Washington State, and like people would just yell out like "Suge Knight in the building." Man, we cut our show short and exit the back door so quick. But man, I just remember, man, every time we went to the West Coast, man, having to have extra security, man. Like one time, man, we got extorted from the gangs. They said the only way we could come into LA is if we paid them. Man, it was tough, man. I remember going, we were somewhere on the West Coast, and our routine was we land that morning, you know, check into the hotel, go to the mall, pass out flyers for the show that night, you know, try to holler at some girls, invite them to the show and all of that. Well, we went to the mall, and it turned out somebody, oh, that's 112. So it went from like one fan following us to like 10 to like 30 to like 80 to like the mall is like following us. So now the mall security is walking with us, trying to shield off the fans. And man, this East Coast, West Coast stuff has spread so wide that people started to take on their coast. And I never forget, man, it was like 8 young men, dude. They were about our age, man. They were like filled with anger, man. They were just like all up in our face, like West Side, West Side, West Side. To the point, man, where we were stuck in the food court. And we had to get extra police officers along with the mall security to exit us out of the mall so that we can get out of the mall safely, man. But had it not been for the security and the police officers call, man, we probably would have had to fight our way out of the mall simply because of I ride with Tupac. It's West Side. Y'all from the East Coast. Y'all don't belong here. Go back. It was tough, man. It was tough.
How did y'all feel about Tupac? How do y'all perceive about Tupac?
Man, it's very rare that you're gonna get me to speak ill against somebody that looks like me, man, and somebody who's been gifted and talented, man. You know, that's one of the agendas of the opposition, to keep us separate, to keep us in competition, to keep us hating on each other. And so I can look at Pac for what he was, man. He was a poet. He was an innovator, man. He was a prophet, man. This guy was one of the best to ever do it. And so even though all of this other stuff was going on, man, I could look past that and just look at him for his contribution to the culture, his contribution to the hip hop community. And man, he will always be remembered, man, as one of the greatest. And that's how I look at him. I love a lot of his music. Now I don't like the Bad Boy Killers. I won't play that one, but all of the other ones, man. Yo, I love Tupac like everybody else do.
How do you think your career would have been back then, or 112's career, if you had social media? Talk about that, and how is it a gift and a curse to artists? Dr. Dre pretty much came out and said that it ruins the mystique because they're on it too much. How do you feel about social media?
I think because we were when we came up, the 90s era, early 2000s, I think for me, man, it was the best time because you're right. It gave you a certain level of mystery and mystique to where people had to come out to an in-store. They had to come out to or listen to the radio to hear you tell the backstories. They needed to listen to the interview to hear you talk about your hobbies, or tell the fans something they don't know about you. So that all of that created this desire when you came into town or when you released an album for people to want to support you, because the albums and the performances and the in-stores were the opportunities for them to get to know you just a little bit more than just listening to you audibly. Well, with social media now, man, nothing is mysterious no more. Like everything is, oh, I know Q. Yeah, I know Q already. Yeah, I saw Q yesterday. He was on social media playing basketball. So yeah, I already knew he liked playing basketball. So there is nothing for the fans to discover anymore because social media has programmed us to document every aspect of our lives, man. So there is no more mystique. So in that regard, I agree with Dre.
You guys 112, I believe in my heart, Jump Right had the greatest era of R&B group of all time, in my opinion. Maybe because I grew up in that era and I just love 112, Hill, Jagged Edge, Silk. I love all of y'all.
Yeah.
How competitive was it behind the scenes? Like you said, it was mistaken. We didn't have social media. We didn't know how competitive it really get between 112 and some of the other R&B groups. Y'all all were vying for that number one spot. Now who's the best R&B group is that?
It was very competitive, although we supported each other. But don't get it twisted by any means. When it was time to perform, we was trying to come at you. We wanted to make it tough for you to come behind us. And I'm pretty sure that they wanted to make it tough coming behind them. We would see how their records were performing on the charts. And so we'd say, well, show, man, we got to do this. Or if we saw that Jagged or Dru Hill came out with a killer ballad, we looking at Puff like, yo, man, we need to come out with a ballad. And just because I know these guys, when 112 was banging in the clubs, they were looking at JD and Hiram like, dog, can we have a remix? Can we be banging in the club? And so it was a mutual respect, although we were in the same lanes and really vying for the same fan for the most part. I think, man, we all did an amazing job because a lot of the 112 fan is also a Jagged fan. You have some that are just ride or die, but for the most part, there are fans of all of us. 112, Dru Hill, Next, Silk, Jagged. I mean, and it just goes, the list goes on and on.
I felt like around the era where you guys 112, Dru Hill, Jagged Edge, I don't want to call it breakup. You guys we didn't hear too much about the R&B group anymore. I felt like that's when you died. What happened to the R&B group?
Man, I think a few things happened when the music industry started to shift and budgets weren't as massive as they once were. It kind of minimized the opportunity record companies had to successfully promote an R&B group. Now, when you are a solo artist, you have budgets. It's easy because you just to travel alone is you and maybe one or two people. automatically with a group that's 4 plane tickets, there's 4 hotels, there's 4 this, there's 4 this, there's 4 that. And man, it gets really, really costly. So I